The S&P 500 hit a historical milestone this morning. We're going to find out what Frank Holmes has to say about it on this week's Gold Game Film coming up. And starting the week off for us is Frank Holmes. Frank, thanks for joining me today.
It's good to be back.
All right, Frank, so the big news today is the S&P 500 topping that 2,000 level historical mark. Now, what does this mean for stocks? Do you think they're going to start topping off? And of course, what does this mean for gold moving forward?
Well, begin with, I've always advocated having this 10% weighting in gold and always having the stock market and rebalance, and you capture those opportunities. So the stock market rising is not a big threat because it's actually creating wealth, and that's where most wealth is created. So it's positive for overall investors. Will they take profits and buy gold? That's another key element of that equation on the art of mean reversion, which I wrote about a couple of weeks ago. I think what's really important is that we've seen record stock buybacks. Apple, for argument's sake, for simple case study, is mentioned 9 months ago, buying 20% of their company back. What does that mean? It means their revenue per share, their earnings per share, their cash flow per share is all going to rise by 20%. And anytime you get that growth on a per share basis, the stock climbs. So that's helped basically pull up the technology sector. And I think you're seeing a lot of healthcare, basic demographics has been a key factor in this growth.
And we'll move it over to our OT segment, opportunities and threats, beginning with opportunities. And they seem to be coming from the Far East right now. You got China allowing 3 more banks to import gold, and you got the implementation of a gold-free trade zone coming in. What does this mean for the gold market, Frank?
Well, I think it's very significant long term. When Deng Xiaoping came to power and basically turned the huge Queen Mary around, or the Queen Elizabeth, if you want, as a metaphor of China becoming an economic power zone, he created 7 tax-free zones to start the build-out of infrastructure. So China is now creating a tax-free zone for gold. They're creating something, so they want to become the king player, the market maker in gold. And interesting, they're making convertible into Yuan terms. So I think long term, that is an important shift. Will it happen overnight? No, but you will see progress take place. It's the complete opposite. We were chatting earlier about France. France hasn't seen anything they can't tax.
Yeah, and like you were saying off camera with there's being too many referees on the playing field and not enough players, I thought that was a good analogy.
You know, it's a great metaphor because we need good regulations and we need great regulatory bodies, etc. But they have to be like referees so that the game is played. But the French have taken it to another level where they had more referees than there were players.
Right, and we'll stick with threats then, as the U.S. dollar had a strong week last week, continued into this week. And of course, there was Jackson Hole. Now, that was what the market was really looking at. Hawkish comments from Yellen and the Fed kind of got the market a little stuttery. So, I mean, what did you make of it? And do you see a rate hike coming soon?
Well, you just follow the Fed funds rate. And we immediately checked the repos, and there was no change. So there's really no short-term pressure to see rates rise. And so until that happens, a year ago, there was all this drama of pulling away the punch bowl for QE3, and this is going to drive rates. Rates start to rise. Immediately, the economy started to falter. Rates have come down. It was only a few weeks ago that we had 10-year government notes at 235. I think they have to do a streamline of their fiscal policies.
And now, this isn't a threat, but there is a Indian festival coming up beginning on August 29th, which is Friday. Now, Frank, just your 2 cents. What do you think this is going to mean for demand?
Well, lots of golden elephants and giving away the god of success and fortune and prosperity. A celebration of success is a celebration of happiness. And it's just really important, we've written about it, this idea of using these religious holidays to give gifts. And so I think it's a positive statement. I also think that the premiums in India for gold has slowly been rising again. So there's demand that's taking place. And I think that we're going to see this sort of process where gold can come back into the country easily. Otherwise, the premiums go too high.
All right, Frank, let's wrap it up with your touchdown pass for the week. What do you got for us this week?
Well, you got to look at CPI numbers coming out this week and the year-over-year change in GDP. What's really key in looking at 2003, 4, 5, and 6 is not only did we have negative real interest rates in many of the economies of the world stimulating economic prosperity, but the whole world had synchronized growth, and gold was rising in global synchronized growth. So this GDP number will be important confirmation of what's going to happen, I think, for interest rates.
Excellent, Frank. Thank you very much for your time this week.
Good to be here.
And thank you for watching this edition of Gold Game Film. If you have any comments or questions, you can send them to newsfeedback@kitco.com. Thanks for watching.